We had some cool guests who obviously look very excited to be here on the Jim Masters Show, as you can see. One's looking down at his phone for gigs and bookings, and the other one is looking through his childhood yearbook. Hey, guys. We've got some real comedy veterans joining us here. Joe Pontillo and Matt Vita are here. They're coming to us from New York City. Gang, welcome to the Jim Masters Show. I know you've worked all your life and your career to get on this show, so we are honored to have you here.
I don't love that you have better credits than me. I'm just going to put that out there, Jim.
Hey, well, there's time. There's time, right?
So might be the biggest thing I've done all year.
With everything going on in the world, comedy is what we need. We need more comedy, we need more compassion, and we need more music and more reruns of the Dick Van Dyke Show. Good to have you with us. And you're with us. There's a special event that's coming up, which we'll talk about in a minute or so, in Connecticut that you're going to be performing at. But what are you guys up to now? Like lately, I would imagine you're probably busy because there's so much craziness going on in our world, and a lot of it is quite comical.
Me, I'm just trying to get out of letterbox format. That's been my main focus for the last several weeks.
Letterbox format.
and sideways letterbox format. But yeah, it's it has been a really busy. I feel like this year started very slow comedically, at least for me. I don't know if Matt can attest to this. But the last month and a half has been every weekend, really good, big shows, good crowds. Comedy is back, as we say. It never really left, but when it is good, you sit there and you go, comedy's back. I don't know what that means. It just sounds like something I like to yell.
Matt, can you concur on that?
Yeah, I mean, my year's been great from day one.
Fine.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, it's been a great couple of months. I've been on the road every weekend, doing a lot of regional headlining. A lot of places within like a 6-hour stretch from New York City. Lucky and privileged to be able to get on stage every night and make people laugh. Because to your point, there's a lot of crazy stuff in the world, so it's good to be you feel better.
Exactly right.
If only our cars could talk, you would just hear them screaming in pain and agony. That's how much traveling we both do.
Wait a minute. You guys drive yourselves? You don't have a town car that takes you all around town?
Well, no, he blew his entire budget on his background. So
I did, yeah. This wall is actually white, but I put a lot of effort into painting it to be just a little off-white. Took me days.
You did that just for us?
Yeah.
Couldn't have sprung for a picture, or where's your baby picture?
I think I would have just put my own headshot on the wall.
So how did you guys link up? Have you performed together before? Have you been on the road? You mentioned, some things you've done together, but how long ago did that happen where you guys started performing together?
So there's this underground fight club in New York City, and me and Matt, we're both regular guests. No, funny, Matt's been doing it for like 8, 9, 10 years.
10 years.
And I've been doing it almost twice as long, but we actually didn't really formally meet until about 2022, which is kind of amazing in many levels. One, because we both grew up so close to where we live, both from Long Island. And two, we both live in the same neighborhood in Brooklyn and only just managed to connect in the last 3 years or so.
That's amazing. And, what's really cool about it is that, like you say, you're in the tri-state area, but each of you independently have had some really terrific careers. You've been involved in comedy for quite some time. I'll start with you, Joe. How did you first get started? And were you a kid that, the family said, you should go into comedy? You've got something there, Joe. How did you get discovered initially?
Well, I don't think my family knew what to do with me. I think they just wanted me to leave. That was the first. But I just wanted to be in entertainment. I wanted to create things. I wanted to have a TV show and or make movies. And then somewhere along the line, I found out, people do stand-up comedy and then they get a sitcom. You don't remember that whole thing, which doesn't really exist anymore. But when I was growing up, that was a thing to do. And then I decided, I'll just do stand-up comedy, and someone will just be like, "Hey, man, you're getting a sitcom." They'll find you. And now, no, but I, still built an impressive resume. Minus all that.
Still built an impressive. Yes, actually, you have. For the viewers that are watching, and we welcome everybody watching around the world. Your host Jim Masters here, and Joe and Matt. Joe has been on Access TV's Gotham Comedy Live, MTV's Middle of the Night Show, TLC. He's been heard on Sirius XM. His jokes have been featured in Time Out New York and the Washington Post and on ESPN.com. And he's released 2 comedy specials. Delete Your Account on Amazon Prime, also downloadable on Spotify, iTunes, and more. And No One Asked for This, which is currently available on YouTube. And of course, he's on YouTube and Instagram and everywhere else. He's written and directed and starred in Social Media, Killed the Supervillain, appeared in Sunday, both of which ran multiple film festivals. Born and raised on Long Island, now in Brooklyn. And he tours the country throughout the year, and he's performed in 25 states. And he hopes to add the other half sometime in the century. Well, so yeah, you've been, all over, my friend, huh?
Yeah, kind of ridiculous. Every time someone asks me to, give them like a resume or a bunch of credits, I start writing, and I'm like, oh, this seems like a lot of stuff. This is that almost seems like the resume of a very successful person.
What was the big break? What was the thing that was the first thing that, if that didn't happen, Joe, these other things wouldn't have come your way? Do you remember what that first opportunity was?
Oh, man, I don't even know. So, well, I would say when I first started doing comedy, within like 2 years of doing comedy, I actually got interviewed by someone from the New York Times, because they were just writing like a story about, let's be real, sad shows on Long Island. And I would regularly perform in a Starbucks in Westbury. And that was one of the places and shows that they came to. And they picked me out, and they were like, "Hey, can we interview for the New York Times?" And I was like, "Sure." So right off the bat, I got this like really cool credit, I guess. Now I wouldn't use it because people be like, "New York Times, nobody reads that anymore." But at the time, I was like, "Oh, all right, well, maybe I should be doing this."
And on the weekends, you worked at Carvel, or?
I did apply to Baskin Robbins, and then the Baskin Robbins closed. And I was trying to.
Just for the audience, too, you have 3 guys here originally from New York, the tri-state area, from Long Island. And if you notice, when you listen to Matt and you listen to Joe and you listen to Jim, none of us are saying Long Island. We're saying Long Island. I don't say Long Island. Do you say Long Island?
I absolutely refuse.
I don't. I refuse to say it too. Matt, how about you? Do you say Long Island?
If I'm code switching, sometimes.
And I've never once used the term Strong Island either.
I've heard that too. Or
just a regular island.
Like we say, when you're from that area, because you would say, "I'm on it." People that aren't from the area say they're going in Long Island. But going in Long Island. How do you go in it? You go on it.
Well, some of the people who say they're in Long Island, they might actually just be telling the truth.
Now, Matt, also a very talented guy, not just in comedy, but in music as well. He's been seen on CBS, Amazon Prime, Vermont Comedy Festival, co-founder. Is also a New York City-based comedian who regularly performs top clubs in New York City, Comedy Club, Atlantic City Comedy Club, also an award-winning freestyle rapper. And he's going to take that lamp that he's got, and he's going to do something with that lamp when he does some freestyle rap. It's called Lamp Rap from Long Island.
Is that true, Matt?
He's unscrewing the bulb now. You didn't know that, Joe? Yeah, Matt and I were talking earlier in the week. He's going to do something with the lamp.
Oh my
Debuting it here on
God.
the show just for us. Yeah, you painted the wall yellow, and he's going to do something with the lamp just for our
I
viewers.
was totally unprepared for all of this.
He's, again, an award-winning freestyle rapper, and he has shared the stage with hip-hop legends galore. And in 2023, he began going on the road regularly and has headlined clubs from Canada to Florida, touring in a RAV4 with a broken radio, which gave him a lot of time to ponder. Yeah, when you're in a car that has a broken radio, it does give you time to ponder the absurdities of life and all the fun things that you did the year before. You opened for Colin Quinn, appeared on television with Queen Latifah as well, and you continue to tour and recently asked to be a part of the comedy legend Kevin McDonald's East Coast tour, and the feature film Killington, released worldwide on Amazon Prime in 2024. So Matt, congratulations to you too. Been quite busy as well, huh?
Yeah, grinding, baby.
It's it. What was it like for you as a kid? And were you told by the family that you were funny? How'd you get into comedy? Because I know the music is really huge for you as well. So then what came first? Was it comedy? Was it music? Was it a blend?
Music first. I've been playing in like punk rock bands since I was like 12. I also been like a freestyle rapper. So when I was like a teenager, I used to do like a lot of like rap battling and stuff like that. Which a lot of times that's like really, you don't think about it at the time, but what you're trying to do is be funny to win rap battles. So I used to do this thing like back in the day, like a couple of my friends' bands became pretty big, and I used to like go before the show, and like while they were setting up, the drummer would play, and I'd like do like funny raps and stuff like that. So at that point, I wasn't calling it comedy, but I would say that was my first sort of foray into, doing performative art, trying to make people laugh,
So for you guys, who are some of the veterans or some of the folks that you've enjoyed in the world of comedy? Like, were you fans of Carlin and Dangerfield and some of the legends, Don Rickles, or more recent people? Who were some of the folks that you were inspired by and maybe enjoyed watching, sort of inspired you along the way in comedy?
Well, I was a big fan of Seinfeld, the TV show, which is what brought it all together for me, where I was like, oh,
I was going to say, how does he do that? Because he was talking, but his lips weren't moving. Did you notice that, Matt?
Yeah, I thought he was picking up, maybe some miming abilities.
How do you do that, Joe? His face. He looks like he really is seriously thinking about answering that question. While he thinks and he ponders that answer, he mentions, I think, Seinfeld. Did we get a Seinfeld out of him? Did he say Seinfeld?
We got Seinfeld, the TV show.
The TV show Seinfeld. Yeah. We actually had Sandra Gimpel on recently, and she was the person responsible for all and any stunts that were done during the entire 10-year run of Seinfeld. And that was really, really cool. Yeah, she was incredible. She was in The Bionic Woman and Poseidon Adventure and doing all of these crazy things. But while Joe gets his Wi-Fi together, which looks like it was frozen, he's coming back. There he is. See? Well, look, there's two of you. Look, Joe, there's two of you. There's still a frozen version over there. Now print that out, folks. That's Joe's. That's Joe's headshot. You see that headshot?
Okay, now we're back.
Ooh,
now it's a show.
Now look at the lighting. Matt, he stepped up the lighting now. Look at this. He's got lighting on the head. He's got some powder on his cheeks.
I had to do a quick makeup. Sorry about that, guys.
No, that's cool. It was Matt and I was laughing and said, how does he do that? How does he talk without moving the lips? Because you were frozen.
Actually, the second I mentioned Seinfeld, his lawyer actually showed up.
I think it's a Massapequa, Long Island thing, probably. More than likely.
Yeah, they like the strong arm people.
I was telling Matt that we had a guest on. She's a legendary stunt person. She was in everything: Poseidon Adventure, Bionic Woman. All of it. But she was the stunt coordinator for the entire 10-year run of Seinfeld. Anything that had a stunt, she was the one who helped everybody do it and coordinated all, which is, her name is Sandra Gimpel. You can see that episode on our channel archive. So you're mentioning Seinfeld was influential for you. Who else?
So performance style wise, just before I started to do comedy, I got really into Lewis Black, actually.
Oh yeah, sure. Right. Yeah.
I'm not, a political comic. And if I do talk about politics, I try to make it a universal thing. I'm not, who's bad? These other guys. Wow, wow, wow. I'm not one of those people, but I just loved his like energy. And like, I feel like when I'm at my best performance wise, I'm up there like throwing that same energy out there that he does.
How about you, Matt? Who are some of the folks that you always enjoyed in comedy that sort of inspired you enjoyed watching?
Yeah, it's a little cliche to say, but the first time I heard George Carlin, that was the first time I was like, oh, this is an art form that I want to aspire to. Like I remember being 14 and hearing George Carlin. At that point, I was doing a lot more music. So I remember I used to actually sample clips of like old Carlin sets into like weird, like experimental music I was making on a 4-track at the time. So yeah, always Carlin. Just his wordplay and the fact he was actually saying stuff, and and not that like similar to Joe, I don't do politics, but it was just inspiring at the time.
I think I actually swapped one of those 8-tracks off you and didn't realize it back in the day. Did you? Did you used to hang out in the Pathmark parking lot in West Hempstead? On
Pathmark, yeah. Pathmark. He doesn't want to answer that.
No, he got very nervous when I brought that up.
Suddenly, his picture froze. Yeah, see those eyes? There was a headshot.
Sorry, guys, bad Wi-Fi. What?
Oh, sorry.
Bad Wi-Fi. Everything
I'm over here. It's fine now.
Do we need a 7-second delay or 8? So how do you describe your comedy? If people, again, there's the event coming up in Connecticut we'll talk about in a second, but how do you describe your comedy? And are you guys similar in your wavelength or completely from different fields and levels with your comedy? Joe?
So I'm kind of a mix of everything. I'm observational, topical, biographical, no music. And then I just might, go on a rant about something which may or may not go somewhere, but at least I'm having fun while I do it. I try to have sort of I don't want to say a message, but try to have a point to a lot of the things I do. But, sometimes people just, like to detach and laugh, and I like to think I do that. So yeah, I kind of like a little bit of everything.
Case in point.
I went to the bank today. They don't want you to go to the bank anymore. I don't know if you know that. Like I'm trying to deposit a check and the teller goes, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm trying to deposit this check in the bank so I could spend it at a later date." And the guy goes, No. You get the mobile banking app on your phone. You could take a picture of the check. It'll go right into your account. And I said, "Well, can I do that with cash?" Right? Because in that case, I could just take a picture of any cash that's lying around and say, "This is mine, put it in my account. It's cool," Game changer.
So what I like to do is
That's a great idea. I'm going to start taking pictures of the money in my wallet and see what happens.
I specifically try to write material that'll elicit claps from an audience member whose facial expression does not change whatsoever as they're clapping.
It looked like her Wi-Fi was stuck too. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So how much of the material is all pre-prepared for both of you, and how much of it is reactionary, like you say, observational, where you'll come up with something quick right when you're there, and it wasn't something that you had pre-planned to even say?
So, like, we travel a lot, and I feel like when you're traveling around the country, going places, you try to, like, pick up a quick local thing sometimes to throw in. like early on, especially because like you're going someplace, and even if people are there for a comedy show, they're like, oh, this guy from New York. But then you bring up like some random local small town thing, they're like, he gets us. And that's kind of what you want. But then that's also tricky because then sometimes that does so well. And then you try to go back to doing the things like you normally do. And they're like, oh, just talk about our town, please.
Right, exactly. Talk about the mayor, talk about this, talk about that. How about for you, Matt?
It's about a 92.1% pre-planned, and then I try to do about 7.9% in the moment stuff. And of that 7.9, at least 10% of the 7.9, I like to have as basically telling wherever I am, to Joe's point, like why they suck, but specific to that location. People like
that
to be
got
told.
very mathematical, didn't it? 9 of the 10 to carry over the 3 with the. Does it always work out that exact, or sometimes do you have to fluctuate?
Within about 10 basis points of the formula, it typically lands.
You should see his spreadsheet he brings out before the show. Forget it. It's overwhelming. I don't even want to do comedy after I say it.
So, Matt, how about you? How do you describe your style? Joe mentioned his. How about yours?
I'd say I'm a little kinetic, a little crazy, observational, and talk a lot about my personal stuff. But I like to attack an audience, not like in a mean way, but just kind of like really bring a positive energy, but like at them, So I'm like very kinetic. I also sometimes I mentioned, you were mentioning I do some like music stuff. If I'm headlining, I will also, of the 92.1% that's pre-planned, I would say of that 92.1%, about 3% of the 92% will be some sort of musical thing. So I'll do some sort of like rap or a song, or I close it with, when I'm headlining with an improvised song. So whenever I headline on the road, I always spend the last couple of minutes talking to the audience. I usually pick 1 or 2 members of the audience, interview them, get a couple of fun facts from them, and then I'll make up a completely improvised song on the spot. I bring a little looper, so I'll beatbox, and then I'll make a song, and then freestyle, and that's how I end the show when I'm headlining on the road.
If I could
do very well on your SATs.
Not bad.
He did 3%.
1,800.
Right, 3% of the 92%. That is cool. You look a little bit like Gallagher, Matt. Remember Gallagher?
Watermelon or two.
Right, yeah. Engaged.
He does it with his mind, though.
Does it with the mind, yes. Right, exactly.
He doesn't need a hammer. He is the hammer.
But you've also both you've been involved in the world of acting as well, too. Do you enjoy doing that? You enjoy being an actor?
I love it. Yeah, I wish I could do more of it. Most of the acting I do, unfortunately, is my own stuff. I've made multiple movies, web series. I do like 2 to 3 sketches, sometimes a week, depending on how much time I have. But I've also done some commercials.
Yeah.
A solid audience member role on an episode of The People's Court, which we talked about before.
Exactly right. Yeah.
And what else? What I did? My first big acting credit, I actually played a talking cloud in a local New York City weather commercial.
What was that like? Can we hear a sample?
Well, it's on YouTube. Oh, I don't. Basically, I would say some stupid stuff and then go, "Whoa, find all about it." Weather on the Ones with New York One.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Those were very popular. I even got recognized on the subway one time, and I was getting off the train, and some girl just went, "Oh, I know you, weather guy. You're the cloud." I'm like, yes, I am. And then for some reason she went, "Do the thing." And I did not know what the thing was.
In the middle of the subway, do the thing.
I just started trying to make wind.
Yeah.
That was not the thing.
You started blowing wind on the subway? That's like Is that the one that is that the train that derailed that day, or it's like, how about you, Matt? He just did the weather cloud. We're still
I try not to blow anything on the subway.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah, I do a lot of acting work. I get cast a lot as homeless. So
what's the prerequisite for that?
I like to think a strong grounding and Meisner technique.
Matter of fact, the room he's in right now is not his, as Joe said earlier. That's a hotel room. That is a Motel 6.
The studio is
Matt
putting him up
right
there.
now. And the room comes just with that one lamp. That's it.
He doesn't even have a TV or a bed.
No, the room is just the corner that he's in. There's nothing around him but a parking lot and a vacancy sign that blinks. Vacancy.
Cement.
That's about it. You make it what you've got. So, so that's kind of fun, huh? Do you enjoy that? You have done commercial work as well, Matt?
Yeah, I've done a lot of co-stars on network television. I've done some commercials for a couple different things. Yeah. So every once in a while I get a role that's not homeless. But
hey, that's it. You know, whatever it is and whatever it takes, you just do it. You're professionals.
I think my favorite recent acting audition that I went on was literally an audition where they asked me to make a sandwich and eat it on camera and film it all myself. And I was just like, I don't know if I can do that authentically.
That was a self-tape audition?
That was a self-tape. And I even made like a spoof sketch about it just because I thought it was so ridiculous. Like,
what kind of sandwich was it?
I think I made salami and cheese or turkey and cheese. One of those. It was a good sandwich. I hated wasting it on an audition. I'm not going to lie.
Toasted or?
No, not toasted.
That's
mustard. Some mustard on there.
I remember being on a commercial shoot, and it was for a medicine. It was a pharmaceutical thing. So there was a bunch of us, and actually, it was filming out on Long Island, and there was one girl that was one of the lead characters, and she was supposed to have the glass of water and take the pill, whatever the medicine was that she was supposed to take. So they would hand it to her, and she'd take and then they'd get the shot. But she had to do it multiple times because they wanted so many different shots and different angles and everything. So when we were breaking and we were over by craft services having our lunch, she didn't feel too good. She was getting a little woozy, and so everybody was like, all the other people, actors, actresses, what have you, extras, you know, what's Sarah, what's the matter? She said, I don't know, I'm not feeling so great. So they said, well, when you were taking the pill that they kept giving you, you weren't actually swallowing those, were you? You're supposed to, you know, go like this, cup it, make it like you're swallowing it. And she said, oh yeah, I thought I was supposed to. And she took like 8 of these things or whatever it was. And it was kind of like, you haven't had anything crazy like that happen, have you guys?
I mean, I think wearing that cloud costume for 2 days straight maybe caused permanent back damage. Right. But oh, and then somebody wanted to hire me for their kid's birthday party as the cloud.
As the cloud.
Yeah. It's like,
well, you know, you can get a role like that. I knew the guy that did the Verizon commercials for 1,000 years. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
You knew that guy?
He was an actor, Paul. He's originally from Connecticut, and he's an independent film producer and stuff like that too. And he did it for, I think, 11 years, something like that. And
then he went to Sprint, right? Or T-Mobile?
Well, that's what happened. They sort of stopped using him or just changed their way they were doing things, and it paid for his schooling. I mean, those commercials paid for everything, he said. But then a few years later, Sprint wanted to do something, so they brought him back, and they just added in, "Can you still hear me now?"
Yeah.
So you know, it's like
next it's going to be, "Do you want to hear me?
Do you want to hear me now?"
Anybody, for the love of God.
Now, do you get hired as well to perform at events and for companies, you know, either together or individually as well?
I do a good amount of corporate work. I do some
Corporate, yep.
weird. I'd say one of the coolest corporate gigs I got last year was I got hired to surprise someone in the C-suite on their birthday with like, we pretended we were on like a job interview, and then like we crashed it. It was me and my girlfriend. She's also a performer, and we performed a song for the entire company. It was during an all hands on deck meeting, so we busted out a rap song about the whatever his title was, Chief something something.
Now he did the cloud bit. Do you remember any of that, Matt?
The rap? No, no.
Yeah. What do you think, Joe? Do you think he's honest or what? He knows that song, right?
And he's suppressing the memory.
He's suppressing the memory. That is funny. How do you balance the music with the comedy, Matt? Is, you know, if you're performing and you're out there, you know, gigging and all, how do you balance it all? Because sometimes you may be called to do both at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, unless someone hires me to write a song, I kind of just do it in downtime, just as like a hobby. But I do like a lot of like funny stuff. So every once in a while, if I come up with something, I just, you know, maybe I'll make a video, put it on Instagram or something. But I also get hired sometimes to like write jingles for like small businesses, that kind of stuff.
Jingles, yeah, right.
I've done some stuff for like HelloFresh last year, one of the bigger companies I've done stuff for.
Then wasn't there a local sandwich shop that you did something for last
year?
Oh
yeah, Compton's, which is they got like 4 locations now. I got hired to do a rap about bacon, egg, and cheese for them, which was.
Do you remember that?
No.
He just sings the songs and immediately.
What do you think, Joe?
Out.
Is he lying again?
I think he's just got music mentality where, you know.
Do you think if we take him to White Castle and he can buy whatever he wants, he'll sing something for us? What do you think?
He will, but he won't remember.
Will White Castle do it?
White Castle will do anything. They sell shrimp.
They do now?
Exactly. They'll do anything. They'll sell anything. What do you want? Just say something.
Especially at 2:00 in the morning, right?
Yeah, just walk in there and be like, "I want grits," and they're like, "We don't serve grits." Yeah, you do. Oh, you're right. We do. We got them somewhere.
So you got this really cool event that's coming up in Connecticut, which is sort of like the first of, and radiotv.com putting it on, and it was pretty exciting. And it's the start of something exciting that may be expanding throughout the tri-state area, maybe, you know, across the country, maybe, you know, in Geneva, who knows, based on what happens in Connecticut. It all depends on what happens in Westport, the beautiful town of Westport, Connecticut, where Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward have made their home all those years.
Yes, Paul Newman's daughter actually plays jazz, I think, at the venue that we're performing at, which is a great crossover because I used to be all about Paul Newman's food. I don't know if
Paul Newman's food, yes, yeah. Newman's Own. Right.
He used to swear by his frozen pizzas, but
frozen pizzas, and he's got the hole in the wall camp for the kids with cancer up in northern Connecticut as well. And they were very involved in the Westport Country Playhouse in Westport, Connecticut. I think they helped found that, create that with everybody. But here it is. And you also have Laura joining us. I know Laura was going to join us today, but I think she got called away. Tell us about Laura, working with Laura as well, as if you were Laura speaking.
Laura's great. She has a quite a large. Actually, I don't even know her. I just kind of picked the name out of a hat. No, she's got quite a large social media following, both on Instagram and TikTok. We actually have some mutual fans. Yeah. Funny enough, who every time we're on a show together are like, "Oh, we're gonna come see both of you," and so far it's only happened when we're in New York City because they live in New Jersey. So, but yeah, she's very funny. She's
when they go low, she goes high.
I hope that's her catchphrase. I'm not sure. I want to say she's like the most famous person who was born via, I want to say in vitro fertilization, but I might be completely wrong. So she's like famous, very famous in that circle, which I didn't know was a circle, but apparently it is. And she's at the top of it. So we're happy to have her.
So this would be the first time that you're working together as a trio, huh?
I think. Oh, so I run a regular monthly show on Long Island, actually, in Island Park, and both her and Matt Vita were on that show too. But there was like 3 other comics, so it wasn't quite a ensemble.
So do you like working with other people in an ensemble, or do you prefer doing stand-up, alone yourself? Um,
Well, there's
see.
about
Let's see how they answer this one.
67,000 comedians, give or take, just in New York alone, just in our
Wow.
neighborhood,
That many?
possibly.
Yeah.
And maybe 10 of them are worth regularly interacting with. So it's very important to find those 10 and just, be able to work with them as much as you can. Matt's like half of them. And, and then there's like 9 other people. No, yeah, it's good to have like your group of people that you always want to, work with, get on shows, people who regularly do well, people who are also just fun to be around. A lot of comedians, shockingly, are not fun people to hang out with.
I've always heard that. Yeah, they can be very serious, very focused. And then when they're done, they go off stage and they're gone. They don't get involved with, socializing.
More about the drama than the comedy.
Yeah, right.
Just, look at comedians like Facebook and Twitter posts and you're like, why is this person so angry?
And a lot of competitiveness sometimes amongst some. Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah, and like this day and age, I feel like you're not even competing for that many like great things. You're competing for like, well, who's going to headline the bar show tonight? Or who's getting 5 more YouTube views?
Right, 5 more. That's right. That pays for nothing. Doesn't even pay for doing. Right, I know what you mean.
I think I'm losing money posting YouTube videos.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the streaming costs even more. How about you, Matt? How do you feel about all that?
Yeah, no, it's true. There's a lot of unsavory folks in the business. People, I'm a Pisces, so I'm like a sponge. So if there's negative energy radiating off of someone, it's just going to kind of soak up in me and harsh my mellow. So to Joe's point, when you find sort of your little tribe of people you actually like to be around, especially when you're in the car for 4, 5, 8 hours, you kind of want to work with those people, especially when you're doing these sort of road dog gigs.
Someone you can keep talking to on a road trip and not just run out of conversation after about 30 minutes and then go, well, this is weird now.
Especially when the radio dies in the RAV4, you got to have some company, right? Exactly. So like now with the event that's coming up in Connecticut at Westport, what can people expect? What are some of the things that you're going to be doing? And are you guys with Laura sort of working that out now, figuring it out? Or are you just going to individually come with your own stuff and then just lay it out?
Oh, yeah. I want to know as little as possible about what the other comics are doing. I don't even know what I'm going to do. True story. I never really know what I'm going to do on stage. Like I have probably like at least 2 hours total of material. And then, I'll do the same jokes multiple times if you come see me, but I feel like I always do them differently. I don't do them in the same order. I never know how I'm going to start. I gotta, I like it to be a mystery. My goal when I started comedy was I was going to do a different set every night. And I very quickly realized that was not going to happen. It was completely unrealistic. But if I could at least make each performance completely different, I feel like people will, and it happens. People come back and see me multiple times, and they're always like, I always hear new stuff. And I'm like, that's how it should be.
How about you, Matt? How's it work for you?
I'd say there's a little more calculated chaos behind me. Like I've got like chunks of stuff that I know kind of go together, but similar to Joe, like, sometimes I'll always go in with the set list, but half the time I rip it up in the first minute or two. So it's tough to say. And sometimes I'll get into the audience and, do some riffing around, having some fun. But what I can say about the event come up in Connecticut, the 3 things I can guarantee is laughter, good vibes, and hot sauce. That's right.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Possibly T-shirts. He's selling his merch on the show.
Well, he's
I have to
actually
go.
on there. There he is. He's got his own. What is the name of it?
Burberry sauce. So hot. It's cool.
So hot is cool. Wow.
Most
How long have you been
people
doing that? So they can go to mattvita.com to get that and to learn more.
Yeah. Drop me a line. I usually just bring them when I'm on the road. I don't currently sell them out on my website, but I mean, I've been selling those things like hotcakes. Last weekend I was headlining. I sold a whole case, one show. Bam.
When did you get into that world of that? When did that start?
I don't make the hot sauce, which really offended one lady once in northern Vermont who bought a bottle of it. But one of the companies that I buy merchandise from for years, they sell. Sure, I get all my shirts, stickers, a bunch of stuff. They've been making it for years, so you get a sample. If you spend $100, you get a sample. So I've been eating that sauce for years. I know it's good. And about 6 months ago, they sent out an email and said, "Hey, get your label on our sauce." And I said, "Yeah, give it a shot." And I sold them so quick that like now, I mean, I've gone through about 12 cases in the last couple of months.
Wow, that's cool stuff, huh?
As you can see, Matt is very inspired by Paul Newman.
I was going to say, right? How about you? He's got hot sauce. What do you have, Joe?
I actually sell T-shirts that say "I've been canceled" by Joe Pontillo, which are dumb but always good sellers. I don't know why. They're really good shirts. I made them just before COVID in 2020. Sold like 2 shirts and then just sat around with boxes of them for over a year before I started going on the road again.
Isn't it funny how
come buy one? Don't even come to the show. Just come by
and get the shirt. Get his hot sauce and get his shirt. And don't spill any of the hot sauce. Use my
shirt to clean up the mess you make
from the hot sauce.
I think that was a pitch I actually made one night, right?
Yes.
You know, it's kind of interesting how we use.
Yeah, we were on a rough show together.
Were you? Tell us about that. What was the rough show?
I want to say it was somewhere in Massachusetts, and it was at an arcade place.
Tough audience. An arcade place. Kids?
There was a lot of people there for the show, but there was no seats. Everybody was standing around the bar.
And you had all the noise and
it felt like a mosh pit.
And there was so much noise. Yeah. It was like we were opening for a band that was never going to show up.
Right. So yeah.
And then
how do you deal
I went up and I did the best I could. And then at some point during my set, I actually brought Matt on stage and I promoted both of our merchandise to be like, look, while you're here, I think I even said you could buy the shirt I was currently wearing. I'm like, you could buy show-worn clothing. You know how like athletes sell game-worn shirts and jerseys. And I was like, Matt has hot sauce. You can buy my shirt and use it to clean up his hot sauce. 2-for-1 deal, 2-for-2 deal. Just please buy something so we can get out of this town as quickly as possible.
That is funny. What do you do sometimes when a crowd is they're either not paying attention or they're distracted or they're just being tough and rough, whether it's a heckler or whatever it may be. How do you guys individually handle that? Matt, how do you handle it?
Well, typically, if someone's acting out like that, it's because it's something that's going on with their lives. And typically, it's an unresolved issue. So I like to think back to my days when I was studying at Boston University in their psychology program. And I try to dissect it from a psychological level and get underneath whatever's happening. And if I could help them in the process, great. But as long as we can get the show back on track and refocus the energy on why we came there in the first place, which is to spread joy, happiness, and laughter, then I think I've done my job.
Matt has saved countless marriages with his heckler negotiation process.
The negotiation, the therapeutic.
Like mental judo, really.
Mental judo, there you go.
Is there a copay involved for the audience or no?
They have to buy 2 of his hot sauces.
2 of the hot sauces, and then it's square. How about you, Joe? How do you handle it?
If it's a rowdy crowd, I I think I sometimes, this is a terrible analogy, I sometimes look at comedy as like, you've ever heard the prison analogy where like you go and your first day, you just beat up the biggest person there. Kind of what you do with like a rowdy crowd. You just go to like the center of the rowdiness and try to, verbally not beat them up, but you know what I mean? Get them on your side. Because if you could like get that rowdiness under control, then you can get the whole audience on your side. Or it just gets weird, which has also happened. Because here's what happens to me. When I'm on stage, I'm in a zone. I'm telling my jokes. I'm doing this. Sometimes any interruption, I just like do like a gut check thing and something silly comes out. Like one time I'm doing a show and some guy just goes, "Bad joke." And then without thinking, I just went, "Bad father." Don't even know if that guy was a dad, but
but they might have thought you were talking to your dad.
Exactly. Honestly, he comes to a lot
Dad,
of
I
shows.
told you, stop following me on these gigs and don't sit in the front row, Dad.
My dad has actually been to so many comedy shows throughout the years. When I started, he notoriously would fall asleep.
Oh, that's a great editorial comment.
Because I would do a lot of like new talent shows where there was like, upwards of like 12 to 15 comedians. And like, maybe he'd make it to my set. But after that, he was like, all right, my son was good.
My dad's taken a phone call in the middle of a set when I was headlining once.
I could totally see
heard
it.
the phone ring. I'm like, who the fuck? Yeah, who's got their phone on? And all of a sudden I see my dad in the back. Hello, what you want? Yeah,
my dad also, when I started, like very briefly tried to like not manage me, but like try to help with a few things. And one time he went up to a comedy club owner on Long Island, who thankfully doesn't own the club anymore. And he just goes, "When are you going to start paying my son?" And then and the guy goes, "Which one's your son?" And I don't know what he actually said, but my joke was always the funny one. You that.
That is funny. So you get a lot of support from the family. They must be excited to see you guys doing your thing, huh?
Yeah, my dad actually did comedy for like 3 minutes in the early 80s. So
Did he?
Yeah, and I think at first he was like, "My son's not funny," but then the first time he saw me, actually at Caroline's in New York City, I had just like as good a night as you can have for being like 10th show ever. And he was like, "Oh, my son's funny. I got to support this."
Mm-hmm.
So my mom hates comedy in all forms. And
She does? Yeah.
Yeah. The last 2 shows, she likes me. Like she'll tell me I'm funny.
Yeah, that's my son. And yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, "But you don't laugh." And she's like, "Yeah, it's not really what I do." I'm like, "Okay."
Is she not getting the humor or?
I don't want to say she's offended. I think she's just very judgmental.
Sort of dissects it all and doesn't let it just be funny, right?
Like
yeah.
She one time after a show goes, "The comedian that went on before you, do they have a good day job?"
Mm.
I'm like, I don't know. Hopefully.
What's her first name?
Diane. Why, do you know her?
Diane, did you want to come in now or after?
This would be the last thing she would do.
What do you mean this would be the last thing?
She's too busy writing bad reviews of restaurants on Facebook.
Oh, she loves Yelp, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, I don't know if she's discovered Yelp yet. She's just all about the Facebook reviews.
We won't say anything about Yelp. How about you, Matt, with the family and the support and all? I like that. That's a good. Depends on the day, or.
I'll tell you this: the first time I ever got on television, I called my dad. So excited to tell him. He said, "How much you gonna make?" Second time I ever got on television, I called my dad. Tell him I was gonna be on television. He's like, "What, you gonna make more than the last time?"
No, the last time.
I got on television, I didn't call my dad. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, no, not to call the dad, right? Exactly.
No, but they are supportive in their own ways. But I think my dad was a little like, "What the hell are you doing?" But as it's progressed and I've moved up the ladder a bit, he's become more and more supportive. I put him every once in a while. I put him in some sketches I make
And he's great. He's a great actor.
He's a great, yeah, he's funny.
My dad can't act. Anytime I've had my dad act, he just starts laughing. That it's
really.
Yeah, he's just, no
what's
matter
his, what's your dad's first name?
No, don't worry, he's not there.
Joe
he's
Senior.
Here. He's right behind.
Joe Senior. Did you want to talk now, or because I see Joe 2 there? So is he Joe 1?
His name is actually Joe. I did that because
Joe, did you want to come in now? And
how do you have both my parents there? That's not possible.
Yeah, that's it. We flew them in.
Wow.
We didn't bring them in a RAV4 that didn't have a radio. We sent a town car.
This is a nightmare. This is your life.
This is your life, exactly. So it's cool that you guys are playing off each other, and then Laura's going to be a part of it as well. And if you got an opportunity to like star in your own sitcom or something, is that something either of you would want to do?
Yeah,
No.
I've got a
You both raised your eyebrows at the same time. How did you do that?
Because we work together so much. No. I'm
you talk and stop talking at the same time too.
Yeah.
This is going to be amazing at Westport, folks.
We will be on stage at the same time. The audience can ask us questions just like this. The dream for me used to be a sitcom, but now I feel like I would love to have like an HBO style, like kind of like The Sopranos meets stand-up comedy, something like that. Or just have like a really popular podcast or talk show, honestly.
Something where you can sort of shoot the breeze and talk about it all. How about you, Matt?
Yeah, I write a lot of stuff. I do a lot of acting. A lot of it's in the comedy world. I mean, our first feature film got picked up by Amazon Prime, and we're working on another film. I've got a pilot that's got myself as the star. So yes, it's one of the hopes is that one of those projects where I could write for myself for screen, whether it's the small screen or the big screen, it is one of the hopes and dreams. And getting closer with every step.
You guys do modeling on the side, I see too, huh?
Yes, I was actually modeling the Samsung S7, I believe, in that one.
Yeah. And did you like it, or?
That doesn't look like I'm enjoying it too much.
It doesn't.
We sold a lot of those.
And what are you saying here?
So this headshot, a friend of mine, not Matt Vita, another comedian, had the same headshot where he was pointing at himself, and I decided to do one mocking him. But then this turned out to be a really cool picture, so it sort of became my headshot for a few years.
Cool stuff. And how about this one, Matt? It's a cool one.
Yeah, so I'm modeling toothpicks in that one. If you look there,
Oh, you do have a toothpick there.
yeah. So there was a new line of mint flavored toothpicks that I got the call for. Yeah, they've since gone out of business, but
Yeah, they stopped making the Samsung
mint
7.
flavored toothpicks.
That picture says, "Don't hate me because I'm standing in your backyard uninvited."
Standing in your backyard. That's funny. With all the craziness that's going on in our world, I would imagine, like I said at the beginning, you're not want for, comedy and jokes and just material, right? There's a lot of material out there available just because of what's going on. You turn on the news, you turn on your TV, you just walk outside, and the day is crazier than it was the day before. Is that you use that? Is that some fodder that you use? What's going on?
I mean, I try to think that you can find humor in pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's the better route to go than just being angry and miserable all the time, which a lot of people seem to default to. But it's a little bit of a not a slippery slope, but some people, you can make the most benign joke ever, and someone somewhere is going to be like, "How dare you, sir?" Years ago, I would have been like devastated. Now I'm like, it's funny when that happens.
Well, we've had some of the guests on, we've talked with some of the legends who've come through too. We've had Paula Poundstone on the show. We've had Rita Rudner on the show and several others, and talk about, do you think some of the comics of the past, the Don Rickles and some of the others, would they be out and be able to do their material today as they did then? And a lot of them say, no, I don't think that they would be able to do a lot of it. Have you had to adjust anything?
I think there's an audience for like almost everything, but then you also don't want to put yourself in a position where you're closing yourself off to large portions of, potential audience. And I think a lot of comedians do that nowadays, where they're just like, I'm just going to appeal to this one group. And that's not good. They even do it with movies too, where they're like, this movie isn't for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be for everybody, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, there's TV networks that way, radio stations that way now. It's really everywhere. How do you feel about it, Matt?
Yeah, I feel like a couple of years ago, there's about a year or two time when, and I'm not offensive at all, but there was, I would say, about a year stretch where I felt very guarded on stage, where I felt people were really scrutinizing everything that came out of your mouth, even if it was pretty benign. And I do think we've bounced back the other way.
Yeah.
These days, where I feel like, to Joe's point, you could say anything. And I think we're back to sort of where we should be, where it should be a free speech thing, and audiences can vote with their feet. If you don't like something, you could leave. And obviously, hopefully, if anyone, it goes to the extreme where you're talking hate speech or something like that, hopefully society just shuts that down just by, okay, canceled.
Which is right. Just like my T-shirt.
But there was a very brief period where it felt like we were, and I don't know when you were talking to Paula and those other folks, but there was a period where I feel like it felt different. It did really feel like, oh, I better watch what I say. But we're definitely kind of, I feel like in my opinion, all systems overcorrect. And I think there's a stretch of society where we were saying stuff that we shouldn't have been. So then I feel like we corrected the other way, where it's like, no, now you can't say anything.
Much.
And now I think
we're heading back to the middle.
So we're getting back to the trend line of like, okay, we've normalized to the sense that we're not saying hateful things on stage, but we could still explore topics, and not by the nature of bringing up a topic that's taboo, shut them down. So
because you got to laugh, right? And if you can laugh at yourself, it's the best, right? Exactly. Yeah. You got to laugh, be able to laugh at yourself. What are some other things the Westport coming up, but individually, what are some other things that you have coming up that maybe you want to tout while you're here?
I've got.
I'm sorry, we've run out of time. Thanks for joining us.
Perfect. I'm going to go shopping after this. And
he's going to go shopping. That's exciting. He's appearing in the produce aisle.
No, I've got a couple other sort of big headlining things coming up. I'm headlining the Fort Wayne Comedy Club in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and the week before Westport, actually. Then I do a monthly show on Long Island at a place called Michael's Island Park. It's an amazing show. I'm on every show. People keep coming. They don't get sick of me. I don't know why.
That's fantastic.
Matt's done it a few times. I have sort of a monthly podcast talk show I do called the Joe Pontillo Show. And
very original.
I don't know where I came up with that name. And then you'll love this.
It's like the Jim Masters Show. Right?
And I have another web series called Pontillo and Associates, another very original name, where I play a kind of like it started as like a social media lawyer type person, but now it seems like I just rebrand supervillains in every episode.
Oh, cool.
So that's and I've got a pilot that I've written. I hope to do something with, or shred at some point, and just a lot of things in the works.
How about you, Matt?
Yeah, similar. Most weekends I'm kind of out and about. This weekend I'm actually not doing comedy because I'm shooting a pilot.
You are?
Yeah, for a friend of mine asked me to act in that. But I put it in my Instagram story when I'm around town. Tomorrow night I'm at Comedy Village in Midtown. It's a really new hot club that's right in the center of Midtown. I was there last night too. It's just a really killer club that's really been a lot of fun to work at. And then I've just been doing a lot of regional headlining, doing some stuff for like Don't Tell Comedy, Next Stop Comedy. And just kind of a lot of that stuff. I try to put it all on the social, but that, and then also I help run a film festival that takes place in August. So we're getting, it's only March now, but
Is that the one in Vermont?
Yeah, so that's the Vermont Film Festival, which I co-run with Colin Doyle, who's also a very funny comic and actor. So yeah,
Is he back there somewhere?
he's in the lamp. That was
Colin,
he's under the couch.
He's in the lamp. That's do you get the lamp when you get the hot sauce? I mean, the lamp is becoming a star on this show. Do you have a name for the lamp?
I think the lamp got more YouTube subscribers than I did.
I was going to say, yeah, shine the light on the lamp. Does the lamp have a name?
Yeah, this is Lucy.
Ah. Wait, oh, look.
Yeah, I'm trying to turn around. There we go.
We've been waiting the entire show for this.
It's a red light.
That's the big reveal, red light.
This has to be one of your more memorable shows.
This is something. The red light.
You know what that means.
I've been to the Netherlands.
I'm going to open up the window shade as soon as this is over, and we'll be all ready to go for the nighttime.
Oh, that's cool. And what's behind your wall, Joe?
Probably a hallway to a better apartment.
To a better apartment.
With more stuff in it.
I think it's an old Polish lady that's been smoking for the last 30 years, which how he got the wall to look so astute and yellowed.
Yeah, there are lines too. It's almost like he's in a cell. Do you see the black lines going across?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that might have something to do with my laptop. I don't know what's going on here.
Always blame it on the computer whenever you can.
I don't think those lines are actually there, but shout out to Laughing Gas Comedy.
Pain-free comedy, radiotv.com, of course. And so this is really what it's all about, pain-free comedy, Laughing Gas Comedy. Tell us about Laughing Gas Comedy.
Well, it's the brainchild of Mr. Ken or Kenjamin Franklin, who I feel like I accidentally met probably about 12 years ago, and we worked together briefly, and then lost contact for many years, and then maybe about 9 months ago reconnected. He actually asked me, he was trying to get me to perform at his mother's 100th birthday party, which was a very sought after gig, as you could imagine. There were a lot of big agents calling, trying to get their people in there. I think they ultimately went with a magician. And but he's trying to do some big things. He's all about branding. He's got his goal is to have these blimps slowly appear in many towns and cities across the country, which could cause a national, kind of like the drones. Remember the drones?
The drones all over New Jersey and everywhere. Yes.
2025, it's going to be blimps. What are these mystery blimps I keep seeing?
Oh, so we're going back to the blimps.
Yeah, we're going retro style. Then they'll be like, oh, wait, it says radiosomething.com, a pain-free comedy. All right, then. So this is the first show, I guess, we're producing under that. And we hope it's going to be the start of a whole big thing.
Does anybody believe anything they've said the last hour?
I know, I don't.
I'm canceling the show.
They don't, and they even said it themselves.
The few comments I've seen seemed very positive. So hello, Marilyn, and whatever other people said hi.
Whatever other people. They're called the Levity Squad. Love and levity together, the Levities. Merlin's watching in Ontario, Canada. She wanted to know if you guys, write your own comedy, but of course you do. Yeah, right?
Yeah, I don't write anything.
You don't steal it like
everything
Milton
just
Berle did you?
Just comes out. I write everything. In fact, when someone gives me a note about something and it's actually good, I'm like, I can't use it.
I can't use it. It's been used before. How about you, Matt? You write?
Yeah, I write everything. Although one time there was a stretch when me and Joe were on the road together, and we had this fun little game where right before I went on stage, like within 5 minutes of me going on stage, I'd be like, all right, what should be the first thing that I say? And it would just be like a fun little challenge to like use that to be funny.
And the first two times I nailed it.
I killed. You killed.
You kill.
But after that weekend, I can't get that magic back. I don't know why. Just that one weekend, I gave you 2 perfect lines.
It was
Ever
so
since
cool.
then.
So you guys going to be performing soon in the Borscht Belt up in the Catskills or the Poconos anytime soon? Or
I actually
Almost
just booked
definitely.
a couple of
those are the
shows.
hot spots. Oh, they
They're
were.
coming back.
They're coming back. The
I actually
Poconos.
did just book a couple of shows up there.
Yeah, up in Catskills, right?
Yeah, I'm doing a weekend in July, and then I actually just booked something all the way out in October.
Oh, that's cool. Nice
yeah.
time to go. Summer and fall. Yeah.
Yeah, summer and fall.
That's good stuff. I want to show that again for everybody that wants to go to the event happening in Connecticut. You can even scan what you see on the screen there. Joe and Laura and Matt together on stage, Laughing Gas Comedy, presenting comedy at the VFW Westport. That's coming up April 11th, 7 p.m. 8 p.m. It's going to be really, really cool. And yeah, good stuff. Matt's getting all ready. He's getting pumped. He's all
That
pumped.
might actually be a bad
Thumbs
QR
up.
code, so I'll have to send you an updated one.
It may be a bad one. You can go to Eventbrite as
Yes.
well, and comedy night, the VFW Westport tickets. Go to
Tickets
Eventbrite.
are going pretty quickly.
That's
I'm
what I
very
heard,
excited,
right? Yeah. That's so go to eventbrite.com and then see everything there, folks. You can get your tickets as well. And again, presented by radiotv.com and Laughing Gas Comedy. And good stuff, guys. This was really fantastic. And Merlin does say to you, she wishes you all the best of luck in Westport and everywhere you go, making people laugh. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Oh, she's from Canada?
She's from Canada,
Well,
and
that
Sherry
doesn't
is
help me.
watching, and she's.
Thank you. Now, Sherry, hi.
Thank you, Meryl. I go to
Thank you.
I
Matt
work-
goes to Canada a lot.
Yeah, I
I
work
would
in
love to.
Canada usually once or twice a year.
Have you gone since the tariffs or before them?
That is the reason for the tariffs.
He's the
Yeah.
reason for the
No,
tariffs.
I was there a couple weeks ago, and I got pulled over.
For being American or
Yeah,
for
I was
being
going
American?
130, and they didn't like that.
Yeah.
But
so,
in the United States, that would only be like, what, 65 or something?
well,
Yeah, kilometers.
With the
I
whole.
was gonna, yeah, I know. I did that too. I took a picture. I was in Edmonton on a TV shoot and took a picture of the speedometer. I said, "Look, I'm going 150," and then somebody says, "You know, that's like 65, 70, Jim." But it looks cool when you see it 150. So he was stopped in Canada and pulled over. Now we understand, Joe, why he has the red light next to him.
That's why he can't remember any of the songs he sang.
He's still in Canada. And
I can sing you one song if you want before we end.
yes, are your feet aren't shackled, are they?
Can you do a freestyle about Jim?
Are you still in Canada with your feet shackled and is Officer Riley next to you?
Are you a political prisoner?
Yes, Justin Trudeau has locked. I'm in Canada. Justin Trudeau has locked me up
Until the tariffs are taken away.
See, I knew that lamp was going to be the star. I just knew the lamp was going to get in on the act. Look at him now. He's going to be. He's got his own lamp too.
I'm trying to get in on this.
You're trying to get on this action. You're no star. You're just an errand boy.
Have you been in any thrillers or horror films, Matt, at all? With that face, those eyes. I mean, how could they not?
Yeah. So, Killington on Amazon Prime.
Killington, that's right, Killington. I said that earlier.
That is a horror film, and I've worked in a couple other horror films. Bring on the Damned, which is making a theater run right now on Troma. And I've been in like 2 or 3 other horror films. I'm just blanking on the name. But yeah, I've been told I have nice eyes, very expressive eyes.
He can't talk without the lamp now. See, the lamp is his thing.
Oh, is this going to be?
It's a shtick.
Come on stage with you now.
You know what he's doing? He's throwing us some shade.
Oh.
But
Let's give Jim 5. Jim, can you be at Westport on April 12th?
You want to do 5?
that sounds good. I like it. Sherry's watching in Kansas, USA. Thank you, Joe and Matt, for being here tonight. Good luck on your Westport selling your sauce and your T-shirts. They were selling the sauce tonight.
Oh,
that's for sure.
We sold something tonight.
Yeah, Maureen is in Arizona, USA. You guys are a hoot. Thanks for the entertainment. They're going to be back definitely on the Jim Masters show. They're going to make a regular appearance here in our comedy corner. this was really cool, guys. I really appreciate. I know you're very busy. You got a lot going on. I really appreciate your stopping
I'm on
by.
at least 3 more YouTube shows tonight, so.
You're on the Jim Master Show. There are no other YouTube shows.
we have an exclusive contract.
This is an we actually, right? Where is that? We have a graphic for that, a JMS exclusive. There it is. Everything you
like,
said tonight, you cannot repeat anywhere else. look at him with the lamp. He's
like when you book a comedy.
He's gonna be tan on one side of his face. You're gonna have to rotate so you got the even tan. Would you answer your door if he was there with the lamp? He looks. You ever see doorbell news on YouTube? He reminds me of the something you see late at night on the ring lights, the ring camera. Would you answer the door?
Please, I'm worried your beard is going to go on fire.
I'm hoping it.
I can't believe this is still going. It's the longest he's ever committed to a bit.
Oh my God.
I see. I knew the lamp. I knew somehow that lamp was going to be roped in.
This is what people can expect on April 11th in Westport.
Well, you know what's going to happen? They're going to want him to bring the lamp now.
I'll bring the lamp.
You're going to have to bring the lamp. Oh, he's got something else
he's going to show us.
I'm telling this too. This is me surfing in Canada. This is me.
Oh, wow.
That's Canada.
Surfing in Canada?
Surfing in
on
Canada.
What? A lake?
No, on the Atlantic Ocean in Nova Scotia.
Oh, Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
Beautiful Nova Scotia. Cool,
He's actually surfing on the tears of Canadians.
Yeah, I would say, huh?
I love Canadians. I love Canada.
Canada's fantastic. We love Canada. We have friends and family there and colleagues.
That one guy we know.
And their show in Westport is Laughing Gas Comedy Presents. There it is, gang. Check it all out. You guys are the best. Thanks for stopping by the show. Really appreciate it. And do you know we did 1 hour and 15 minutes? Wow, huh?
Was this your longest show?
No, my longest show, believe it or not, was when we started it almost 5 years ago. And it was actor Scott Schwartz. And, everything was closed. And, he goes to a lot of the conventions and Comic Cons and signs autographs and everything. He was in A Christmas Story. And he was the kid that got his tongue stuck on the pole in A Christmas Story.
Oh, really?
He was also he was in The Toy with Jackie Gleason and Richard Pryor. He was the rich kid. Mm-hmm. He was Jackie Gleason's rich kid. He came on. He had a lot to say. The pandemic was happening, so there wasn't much going on. He was in his backyard in California. He's originally from New Jersey. So we talked about his childhood in New Jersey and all the people he's worked with. And he had a couple of cigarettes, a couple of Diet Snapples. And we started back then at 7:00 Eastern. And we wrapped at midnight.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
It was just a free-flowing conversation, and he just really had a lot to say. And we have viewers overseas who went to bed, woke up, and we were still on.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so he's the topper. Scott Schwartz. There's a few who've come in at 3 hours, 2, and whatever. But he... it was something. That's still the record holder, Scott Schwartz. Yeah, still.
Now I feel wholly inadequate about this hour and 15
Well,
minutes.
exactly. I was like, wow, 1 hour and 15 minutes. Some guy did 5 hours. Oh, never mind then.
Well, we'll have you back. That's for sure.
I was like, yeah, I got 10 more minutes, maybe.
And then the cab picks you up, right?
Next time I'll have a better background.
He'll have a better background. That's it. You guys are the best, Joe and Matt. Truly, congratulations on everything that's going on in your world. And thanks for stopping by and, having some fun with us, telling us about your backgrounds. And, of course, the show coming up in Connecticut. And come see us again anytime you like. As I always say, we keep the porch light on for all the guests. And hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you guys.
Thank you so much, Jim. Really a pleasure. Thanks for
thank you, Jim,
and putting up with us.
Absolutely. The pleasure is mine.
I feel like I learned too much about Matt and not enough about you, but I'm happy to.
Did you learn anything about yourself?
I learned a lot about myself. I learned
Matt and I
not
pulled
to
it
use
out of
my
you.
phone next time.
It's once Matt brought that lamp out, everybody talks. Everybody talks.
We could have done another 2 hours on the lamp alone.
We could have done it 2 hours on the lamp. Exactly. You
You have a
guys.
nice lamp back there. Get that in. Let's
I
see you
got a
turn
whole.
some tricks with that.
I got a whole thing here. You want me to turn some tricks? Did you say that? This is the guy. This is the guy that was a cloud blowing wind on a subway at 2 a.m.
It was the afternoon.
It was the afternoon.
Worse.
It was a mix of showers and partly cloudy. That's funny. Well, glad you enjoyed yourselves. My father told me when I was 7 years old, he said, whenever anybody says something kind or nice, Jim, or back then, Jimmy, always thank them for those kind words. And I appreciate your kind words. Then he said, ask them to then put those words in writing and address it management. So thanks for the kind words. Right back at you, gang. Come see us again. Spread the word about our show. This will be archived on the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, so you can share the link on your socials. And good luck with everything, and keep us posted on it all, right?
Will do. Thank you,
Thanks,
Jim.
All right, gang. You guys are the best. Long Island in the house tonight, right? The
I
island.
guess so.
Strong Island.
But definitely not Long Island.
Not Long Island.
And we're not in it.
We're on it.
Unless we're
Hot
working for the
sauce.
sewer authority.
Hot sauce. And you got your T-shirt? He's grabbing something.
Oh.
Do you have an assistant? Is there an assistant there? Do you have a Vanna White? Oh, no.
I have my producer. Can we pull up a picture of my T-shirt?
That's
Please,
not.
what do I pay you for?
I thought you said Joe 1 was in the room there.
The 2 was because if this was my second chance at
He tried to do it
being on the show.
He tried to do it so smoothly, and then boom.
Hold on, I might have an image of it on my phone.
Oh my God, Joe!
An image on the phone. Just make sure you show the right image on camera. Don't pull up those other photos.
Well, go to my website; it's on there for sure.
Matt has moved. Matt has moved closer to his camera because he wants to see what you're going to show.
Oh, there we go. Can you kind of see it? Ah.
So bring it over. Oh yeah, cancel. Right.
Only took me 10 minutes for that stupid plug.
But it was worth it. It was
yes.
worth it. Gang, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on everything. Good luck with all, and come see us again. Okay.
Definitely.
Definitely. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, my pleasure. We'll talk soon. Thanks, Matt.
All right.
All right. Take care, Matt. Take care, Joe. We'll see you again. And thanks for stopping
likewise.
by. All right.
My pleasure. Have a good one, Jim.
You too.
Follow me on MySpace.
Do you know you sound a little bit
now
like
that Matt's gone.
Well, no, you sound a little bit like Ray Romano.
Yeah, I
Matt,
get
does
that
he sound a
time to
little bit
time.
like Ray Romano? A little bit.
Yeah.
Now that I'm hearing it, when I heard you by
When
yourself, I heard Ray Romano.
He's like Greg
When
Romano.
I was younger, when I started comedy, all the time people would say Ray Romano.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been getting Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh, wow.
And it's and I was at first like Gilbert Gottfried, and then I saw a picture of myself on stage where I kind of look like this.
Actually, right.
And I was like, I get it now.
Well,
I think the more angry you get, the more you're turning into him.
Could have been Phyllis Diller. So,
yes.
Ciao, guys.
When I started, I wanted to be more Harpo Marx on stage.
There's still time, Joe. There's still time. We'll see you guys soon. You be well. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah.
Lucas.
Bye. There goes Matt.
Definitely.
Joe, thanks again.
I'll do my best.
Always do your best. Talk soon. Joe and Matt joining us here on the Jim Masters Show. How cool was that? Hope you guys had a lot of fun. They are appearing in Westport, Connecticut as Laughing Gas Comedy presents comedy, the VFW Westport. And Laura High, who was called away. She was going to be with us tonight too, but she was called away at the last minute. However, she will be there. So go check it out. Great guys, very funny. two New York kids who made good. And Joe and Matt, we really appreciate them being here on the show. And hey, gang, if you enjoyed what we did here on this episode of the Gym Masters Show with our special guests, Joe and Matt, well, come see us again. And of course, you can see this episode again archived on our YouTube channel, Gym Masters TV, where all the episodes are. And we would love it if you give this episode a thumbs up like. Yes, that's your cue. There it is there, a thumbs up like, and click the share as well if you want to share this on your social media. And if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, thank you very much. If you haven't, subscribe to Gym Masters TV and click the notification bell so you never miss any of the episodes. And drop a comment below for us as well. We really appreciate that. We interact with you too. So do that, and we appreciate it. We thank our friends at Laughing Gas Pain-Free Comedy for sharing what they do as well. And take a look at some of the comments here. Thank you very much, Maureen in Arizona there. She says, Jim, you find the most awesome guests. Thank you for your continued dedication to bringing only the best on JMS. Thank you very much, Maureen. And Sherry Larson says, thank you, Joe and Matt, for being here tonight. Good luck on your Westport and selling the sauce and the T-shirts. Absolutely. And everybody else, thanks for your comments as well. Come see us again. Hey, want to let you know, too, that if you want to see some of those other names we talked about, Richard Klein has been here. Noel Kassler's been here. As I mentioned, Paula Poundstone was a guest on our show. Rita Rudner was a guest on our show, if you like comedy. And tomorrow, we've got a great guest. This is Wayne B. Olivieri. He is a rock veteran and rock legend, and he has worked with some of the most incredible people in the industry, songwriter, singer, extraordinary musician, and he has been a longtime friend of John Bon Jovi and actually his confidant and mentor before John became famous. There they are. He is right next to John. John is on the end of the screen there. And he's got some amazing stories to tell. That's tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific here on the Gym Masters Show. So lots of great guests, great variety here at JMS. Thanks for joining us, folks. We always say don't forget to love one another, take care of one another, and do the very same for yourself. It's important to do that. This is your host, Gym Masters. Thanking you for your time this time. Till next time, appreciate you being here on the Gym Masters Show. We appreciate Joe and Matt. We'll see you again on the next one. We'll be right here waiting for you. Be well, gang, and cheers.